action and you get results. So over to you, Andy.
Comrades, I want to say a few words about feeling powerless, about winning and losing, about solidarity and love, and about the power of our collective direct action. I'll start with powerlessness. This year, one of my students came to me and said, I'm learning a lot about what's wrong with the media and politics, and it's making me feel powerless. How can I change anything when the problems are so big, when they've got so much power? A week or so before that, my bosses just announced massive cuts to our workplace. 1,800 people at risk of redundancy, whole departments marked for the shock, devastating impacts upon staff, students, the community, the whole of Wales. And a colleague said to me, there's nothing we can do. The structural problems are too big. We're too tired of striking and losing. Management are going to get what they want. Now, we all know my students' feeling of powerlessness, fear for the future, insignificance in the face of bigger problems, climate change, bigotry, fascism, the greed of our bosses, the bloodlust of warmongers, their supporters in parliaments and the press. We also know, we feel it in our bones, that this is the same kind of powerlessness that so many of us experience in the workplace, in our jobs, that we feel in the face of controlling, penny pinching, overpaid, distant and downright indifferent bosses. Next, I'm going to say a few words about losing. My colleague was right. We've been on strike 5 or 6 times in the last 6 or 7 years. We were battered, we were bruised, we were broken and buggered from the grind. We lost pay. The emotional and physical toll of fighting and losing is real. Again, I'm speaking to a crowd of trade union reps. We all know what it's like to fight and lose. We all know the toll it takes, the burnout, the dark thoughts. I promised you a few words about winning as well. Well, here you go. What did we do at Cardiff University over the last 3 months? Did we buckle under this attack on our jobs, on our students' learning conditions, on the academic disciplines which form the basis of what we know as a society? No. We did what all good trade unionists do, and what people around us here today have done throughout their lives. We organized, we agitated, we campaigned, and we fought back. Even when there seemed little chance of winning, we fought back. We analyzed our employers' flawed case for their brutal cuts, and we showed them up as not just cruel, but unnecessary. We drew up our own alternative plans for turning around our workplace's finances. We lobbied politicians, and we won backing from politicians across parties. We mobilized massive community support and public opposition for the cuts. Church groups, community organizations, NGOs, scholarly celebrations, Nobel Prize winners, opera singers, celebrities from Elton John to Stormzy, Harry Styles to David Ewan. We ran an aggressive and highly critical media campaign which has drawn attention to scandal after scandal. All the while, we worked with, we supported, we cared for each other, because members are suffering in all sorts of ways after being so cruelly treated by our uncaring and macho bosses. And finally, we organised for and won a thumping mandate for industrial action, the biggest in our branch's history. We smashed the 50% threshold, and we used it to plan an incredibly disruptive industrial action in the form of strikes and an assessment boycott, even though we knew that would be months without pay for our members. And this week, on International Workers' Day, we won. We didn't win the war, but we won a significant battle. Our current mandate was built around the demand of no compulsory redundancies for 2025, and management capitulated completely. Softened up by our fight, scared by the disruption and damage that we would do with our collective workplace direct action. And you know what? We didn't win only because we put up a good fight. We did that, and we'll continue to do that.
Go on, my boy.
We also won because of what we've learned before. All those bloody times we were brave enough and dogged enough to fight together and lose. Because comrades, even when we lose, we are practicing for winning. I want to come back to my student and my colleague and finish up. Those people who felt the powerlessness that we have all felt. Do you know what unites those bigger political problems my student was talking about and the smaller ones we face in the workplace my colleague was talking about? It's the fact that bullying bosses, cowardly politicians, fascist scum and greedy bankers only get what they want when we feel powerless. But when we stand together, when we resist, we experience the infectiousness of solidarity, that special kind of love and mutual respect that comes from fighting together and using direct action in defense of each other. It's very difficult to feel powerless when we are doing that. And it's then that we realize that when we stand together, we had that power all along. The workers united will never be defeated. The workers united
will never be defeated.
The workers united
Will never be defeated.
The workers united
Will never be defeated.
Solidarity, comrades.